Like, I was sort of like, in a way, kind of the Romeo when I was younger. And then I got into high school, and I fell in love with cheerleaders and the most gorgeous people, but they were always my friends.
Tom was sexually active before he met me, and so he knew there was more, and he had done it, and so this was just like starting again, and he was ready for more.
I heard the sound of the water, and I'll never forget the sand on my back, and the whole business, and it was beautiful. And I thought, wow.
Hello, and welcome to a special edition of DNET, the Disability Network. I'm Susan Pettit-Crossman. There's a first time for everything. Your first steps, your first day of school, your first love, and your first sexual experience. The last of these is a very private memory, one that, despite its importance, isn't usually discussed on national television. DNET producer Nadia DeFranco found 3 people with congenital disabilities willing to share the private moments that were for them the start of something. Linda Crabtree has had many memories of her teens, some of them positive.
I remember everywhere. I mean, we made out everywhere. I mean, there was just no stopping us. It was terrible. And when they say youth is wasted on the young, boy, do they know what they're talking about, because it really is. I mean, how to make out in an MG? Any way you can.
Nancy Wicks, a newlywed, has faced many barriers, some of them her own making.
I guess I don't make it difficult for Tom to love me, but it's more challenging, you know, because I put up so many barriers, and there are other barriers that I don't even want put up that are there anyways.
Randy Warren encountered attitudinal barriers during his high school years, an important time for developing a sexual identity.
People don't understand this. I mean, we'll find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. If you're disabled doesn't mean you're brain dead. And as a disabled young man, I still thought with my penis, so it was really important to me to get something.
You know you lied and you cheated, oh, for so long. You lied and you cheated, oh, for so long.
Yeah, I knew all about it. I just didn't know how I felt about it as a woman, as a girl. And therefore I tended to, I think, treat myself badly. Although I went steady from 15 to 17. And that was the first guy I'd ever really gone out with. And we had a wonderful sex life. Okay? But I was too young to really understand any of the responsibilities, because it was a lark. It was fun. It was wonderful. And I ended up pregnant at 17. Wonderful.
I didn't know. I imagined things when I was little. You know, I imagined, nobody's ever taught me about sex, so I'll just think in my head, and I was too shy to ask anyone. And I thought, well, I don't know if handicapped people and able-bodied people do it the same way, and I don't know if like stuff fits in the same places, and so I'll just make up things in my mind and make myself even worse and more scared than I would have been. And as a result, I just didn't want anybody touching me. And so I thought, okay, well, if I don't know about sex, and if I do it different than everybody else, obviously no one who's able-bodied can love me in a sexual way, because I'm different than everybody else. And because I had this concept in my head, how wrong it may have been, that sex was different, obviously love was different. And so the two loves never met.
My dad tried to have that standard talk with me, but he didn't really know what to say, because he didn't know whether to get my hopes up or not, because he didn't know what future held for me. I think that's the thing that was the most tragic. I didn't get to learn the biological process. I really didn't know what was supposed to go where, or why it was supposed to go there, or did I have all the right equipment. Like, I didn't get to go play sports. I didn't get to compare myself to the other guys. I never saw another man's genitalia until I was like 20, 21. You know, and that's important, because I mean, how do you measure up yourself, you know? I'm disabled, but am I also disabled in that department, you know? Am I the right length? Just typical thing that everybody else wants to know.
When I was young, I hadn't really, my sexual identity was that I was there to be more or less used. I was tough, believe me. When I look back at it now, I think, where the hell did I get that? And why didn't I have any self-esteem? What was the matter with me? Where were my role models? Well, where were my role models? I didn't have any. There weren't any disabled people out there saying, hey, I'm female, I'm disabled, and I go to bed with somebody, or I love somebody, or somebody loves me, and I have a family, and this is the way it ought to be. Not just look around for someone to love you, and if they just want to use you, well, that's okay too.
Like, I was sort of like, in a way, kind of the Romeo when I was younger, and then I got into high school. And I fell in love with cheerleaders and the most gorgeous people, but they were always my friends. The girls always saw me as this cute disabled guy. We'll open our hearts up to them. It was like I was a mini Dr. Ruth or something all through high school. They tell me all their love problems, and it was the ones I had crushes on. They never took me seriously. And a lot of patting on the head. I have 2 bald spots on either side of my head from where people patted me, you know. One side I learned to growl, you know, on the other side I went like, you know. And so then a girl with a disability finally came to my high school when I was in grade 11, and it was just natural. They're going to look so cute together. 2 wheelchairs, they get to dance together, and it was just natural. And I was horny as hell. So of course I took the opportunity.
I felt it sounds strange, it's going to sound quite strange, but I felt like a bowling pin, okay? I envisioned myself as a bowling pin. And I was a head and a body, but I had no legs, and I had no hands or arms. And as far as I was concerned, the only part of me that really mattered was my head and my body, okay? I had sort of rejected my extremities, because as far as I was concerned, they were the root of all evil. I hated my hands and feet. They were a nuisance, and I hated them. I tried to smash my hands on glass mirrors, because they were the worst thing that ever happened to me. I actually tried to smash them by bashing them into mirrored closet doors.
How old were you?
Try 40. Between 38 and 40. And finally, somebody said to me, Crabtree, you've got to learn to love yourself, disability and all. I did not love myself.
My first boyfriend was when I was grade 8, and it was summer school after grade 8, and he wasn't disabled, but I guess you can call him a boyfriend, but he never even kissed me or anything. We went to the movies together, and we double dated with my sister and her boyfriend at the time. And he asked my sister if he could put his arm around me during the movie. So it was just kid stuff, and I never really thought about, you know, I never thought, is he going to like to see me naked or not? You know, because you're 13 years old. I don't even want to see myself naked at 13.
And you know, you don't forget your first time. It's really true. It's really engraved in my mind. The very first time was with another person with a disability. I'll probably never work at a summer camp again, but I was a camper at an Easter Seals camp, and it was just one of those things that was really quick, and I was really embarrassed because it was my first orgasm was like, she didn't even have to take her clothes off. It was like really exciting, you know, the zipper down and bang. It was like before anything ever got to happen, it was like, this is what I've been waiting all my life for. And then the first time I actually got to sleep with somebody was also a person with a disability. And by then, you know, I'd already discovered the art of masturbation and stuff like that, so it wasn't so tense. But that time really scared me because she had a disability and I had a disability, and it was like, ouch, it hurt. And I thought, oh no, not for me, for her. And it was like, oh my God, what have I done here? And it was basically, I was physically hurting her, and I hadn't even really done anything yet. So like, it really scared the hell out of me, and it was like nothing erotic about it at all.
We didn't really have actual sex until we moved here, until we moved in together. And it was just because I didn't know if I could. And it's terrible. I mean, for months, Tom and I just went on, like, just, you know, finding out about each other. And just gets to the point where you want more. And I always thought, well, this is all I've ever had, so everything that we do is so much. But Tom was obviously sexually well, sorry, I shouldn't say obviously. Tom was sexually active before he met me. And so he knew there was more, and he had done it. And so this was just like starting again. And he was ready for more. And to me, when this was just my beginning. And I wasn't ready. I was ready to just take one step at a time, not ready to go as far as he had gone. And when we moved in here, I don't actually remember even the first time, because I think it was just natural that it would happen. And I think of our first time as the first time we kissed and the first time he told me he loved me.
I remember the very first time. I'll never forget it, and I think people probably do remember the first time. And it was down on the shore of Lake Ontario, which is, 4 miles from here, in the bulrushes. And it was a beautiful starry night, because I remember the stars in the bulrushes. And I remember the sound of the water. And I'll never forget the sand on my back and the whole business. And it was beautiful. And I thought, wow. But I also thought it was a bit of a letdown for me, too, because I thought, if this is what everybody's so up about, and this is all there is this all there is? And I was very frightened as well. At the same time, there was all a mixture. There was the fear of being caught, okay, because it was a popular kids' hangout, but the police knew where it was. And there was the fear of getting pregnant, because I knew all about it. And there was the fear of not being respected in the morning, you might say, quote unquote. But there was the joy of being with someone and part of someone's intimacy. And the part of almost having joined the club. I was no longer a virgin, quote unquote, but therein lay my downfall, so to speak. You know what I mean? It was the start of something, and I'm sure everybody has the same feeling. I was popular for the wrong reasons. I was popular with the guys because I was easy. And probably I've blown that out of proportion. I think I did when I was young. Maybe I wasn't as wild as I thought I was, or as I really then thought I was. I felt like I had the words "too many men" almost tattooed on my forehead. They seemed to be everywhere, and everybody wanted me. Everybody wanted me sexually. But they didn't want me for anything else.
And it's really terrible to say. It might be shocking, but when Terry Fox passed away, I was really cool in the bars because I had no legs. And they didn't realize that it wasn't amputee. So like it was really more of a status symbol, and I didn't deny that I was an amputee.
As I said, the more somebody knew about me, the less they'd like me. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, he's getting to know too much. And instead of just saying, let's slow down, I'd say, let's stop. And then that way, he could never say that to me, because I thought for sure, the more he knows about me, he's going to say that one day. That way I hurt him before he has a chance to do it to me.
I always thought it was like, try a crip. I really did. I use those words very loosely, but I always felt that people were always curious for that one-time experience. And a lot of it was older women. That was really weird. Just try a crip. And I think that a lot of able-bodied people at that time, for me, wanted to look after me, though. Also, or to give me that first experience. You know, I let a lot of people believe it was that first experience.
So you took the first experience many times over?
Yeah, sadly, and not good experiences. Not good experience. It's not healthy. I mean, how do you develop a good attitude about yourself in that way, you know?
I don't know whether other people saw me as being cheap, but I felt cheap, and that's the worst really way to feel, I think there is, to not respect yourself. And that took me a long, long time to get over. I felt I lost my identity, really, as a woman and as a human being. I felt like I was invisible for many, many years.
I won't let anybody hurt me. So I'd rather, and this is really cruel, but I'd rather have them hurt than have me hurt. And I'm hurt in the process. But I think, to me, I guess I feel like they don't know that I'm hurt. They think they're the only ones, and that's good. You know, and then that way nobody thinks I'm weak.
I would wish I could have had, during high school, love and sex together. I didn't. I had hormones raging, a lot of respect for different people, but it was really a certain population you were centered on, and you were expected to do something about it, so I did something about it. But nobody ever thought that we'd sleep together. They all thought we'd dance and look cute and go home, because we don't sleep together, you know. You just don't do that as a disabled person. Oh, no. Basically, what they were figuring is we dance, look cute as a couple. Nobody could feel guilty then, because we would have someone to dance with. Nobody would have to tackle that issue. Are we going to dance with this guy? How is he going to dance in his wheelchair? How is he going to dance with those crutches? Is he going to hold on to me? Is he going to hold me too close? What if he tries to kiss me? They didn't have to deal with that, because I had someone that I was allowed to do all that with.
Was that a big deal, actually, going out and dancing together?
It always is for me. I worry about things like that. We got out, and I don't move my legs when or I don't move my feet. I just sort of sway to the music, and I kept saying sorry. My whole dancing was sorry, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't move. I'm sorry. Tom just held me really tight and said, "Just it's okay. Just follow me. I'm not worried. I won't let you fall. And nobody's looking at you. I always worry about that. Is everybody going to be looking at me?"
I didn't realize how little self-esteem I had until I eventually quit my work. I worked for many years with the local newspaper as a writer, and I was very, very, very down and depressed about everything, and I went to see a psychiatrist. And in a total of 8 hours, that man got me to talk enough about myself so that I really knew that I was worthwhile and that it was okay to be me. Really, it was amazing.
The psychiatrist said, you're not coping with your disability. You don't have to. He said, what your problem is you're coping with adolescence. And people couldn't recognize the fact that I could be a regular teenager with the same feelings. It had to be the disability, because that's what's apparent to everybody else. So I had the same feelings as everybody else. Oh my God, I'm dressed like a geek. That really would bother me when I got these plaid pants, or when bell bottoms were out and I was still wearing mine for 2 years. That really bothered me, you know? It was strange things that affected me more psychologically than my disability.
I've got Charcot-Marie tooth disease, as you know, and for the last 9 years I've written a newsletter for people with that disease. I started talking about sexuality. Eventually, I started hearing from impotent men, women who couldn't have sex with their partners because they couldn't get their legs open because of horrible muscle spasms, couldn't raise their legs, couldn't feel their genital areas, couldn't feel with their hands, so they weren't touching their partner enough, and their partner thought there was something wrong. Women whose partners had great beer guts. Some of them were so proud of their beer guts, but they couldn't actually make love because of the overweight man, but he blamed it on the disabled woman. All kinds of women who had their men leave them because they weren't perfect anymore, because they couldn't perform anymore. The letters came in like I couldn't believe it. And the intimate things they were telling me, it was wonderful. So I started looking for literature out there. There's nothing.
Oh, there's tons, isn't there?
There's tons. There might be one book a year written, maybe, written by a professional, not often disabled. And it talks about we and them, okay? There's the journals, the Canadian Journal and the American Journals put out by sex education information people, fine. But a lot of the information in there is written by non-disabled people. Okay, I read some of them and I was insulted. I felt, oh God, these people are talking about me. They're talking about us as disabled people. Come on, come on. You were asking about the newsletter. It's okay is an attempt to start a movement, so to speak, of bringing out sexuality for disabled people to the limelight. Bring it out of the closet. That we are sexual human beings, that we want to be loved, that we can love back. And once you look at us like that, we're never the same. We belong.
The Lovecraft store is located in the heart of Toronto's trendy Yorkville area. It's popular for its sex toys, novelty items, and books on sex and sexuality. President Mary Sutherland has become more aware of the needs of disabled clients since the store first opened.
There was a very big international conference in New York in the 70s that I attended, and there I began to be really much more aware of the sexual rights and needs of people with disabilities.
And now?
Yeah, well, we have wheelchair access now at the back. We have a ramp in the back of the store. Unfortunately, the gradient at the front does not permit us to put in a conforming ramp. Increasingly, we are a source, considered a source. And I would like to improve our product range. I'd like to be better, to do more, really.
Mm-hmm.
The first trip to Lovecraft may be a bit intimidating. Sue Johanson, host of TV and radio programs on sexuality, outlines what's available at the store.
Now, there are some interesting sex toys that are marvelous. This is, of course, the old-fashioned phallic symbol, penis, vibrator. It would be wonderful for, stimulation, not only penetration and mimicking intercourse, but for stimulating. So you can stimulate your partner this way, or your partner can stimulate you. Now, there's another appliance, sex toy here, that is absolutely wonderful, and this is an artificial vagina for somebody who does not have a partner, who does have the use of hands. You would need hands, or an assistant who would be able to help you. And the penis goes into the container there, and then there is a bulb that you push, and that grips the penis firmly. Anatomy and physiology, the plumbing of sex is important, and what is normal, what is not normal, and also the how-tos. So if you come to Lovecraft, you can see they have a very large library of books that you can pick up and buy about sex and sexuality. And for basic information, again, for teenagers, Talk Sex answers questions very graphically, very specifically, and gives basic information. And then moving on, talking about relationships, communications, touching, cuddling, massage, sensate, focus.
I think what excites me about it is that I can't get any closer to Tom than that. Then, there's no physical way of getting any closer to my husband than doing that.
That's the one time I can be really open, because, I mean, when you don't have clothes on, you're both just as vulnerable, and you're pretty equal. So at that point, it's like, sometimes I think I'm more patient because of my disability, and that I go to more extraordinary lengths, and I'll do things a lot better or take more time at doing things because I really want to satisfy my lover. So in a sense, maybe they're getting a better deal because I'm more innovative and I'll try different things.
It didn't hit me till later that I might not be. Later, I mean 45. That maybe I might not be a good partner. That I might not be able to do the things that other women can do. And then it came home to me that there are a lot of men out there who don't want to do the things that they show in the movies and the X-rated, you know what I mean? They're just sort of straight lovers who enjoy whatever you can enjoy. And that's nice. But it took me a long time to figure that out, that I was fine, I was okay, but I had to be with the right person.
That's our show. If you'd like more information about Linda Crabtree's magazine, please get in touch with us. I'm Susan Pettit-Crossman. Now, here's our address. Disability Network, CBC, Box 500, Station A, Toronto, M5W1E6. That's the Disability Network, CBC, Box 500, Station A, Toronto, M5W1E6. Or you can fax us at 416-975-5636.